Welcome to another episode of Medium Well with Psychic Sharyn Rose. Today we're talking about spiritual healing with sound frequencies. Sharyn will share the 9 powerful and ancient Solfeggio frequencies that can assist our human journey with everything from dealing with fear and healing chronic disease to spiritual enlightenment. To access the Solfeggio frequencies, click on the link that is featured in the description below. So let's learn more about them and get started now.
Hey, and welcome back to Medium Well with Psychic Life Coach and Medium Sharyn Rose. You know, this is the part 2 of spiritual healing modalities, part 2. I mentioned it in part 1 that I was going to continue on because I didn't have enough time in part 1 to be able to go over everything that I wanted to. I want to remind you also to hang around till the very end. I'm going to give you more real information where to find these frequencies I was talking about, and I'm also going to do a card for you. I'm going to pull an oracle card. And actually, I'm pulling a card from the Law of Attraction Health and Wellness deck by the Abraham Group. So just to kind of recap, I went over a lot of different healing modalities, spiritual healing modalities, and told you a little bit about my core story, basic beginnings in health and wellness, and how I was kind of inspired to always be reaching for more. Without having to go on medications for what I was diagnosed with in the 90s, diagnosed with advanced rheumatoid arthritis. Never been on any of the medications, I want to say. I did try one for a week. I didn't like it. I just went off it and that was it. But I also have had things like healing what they call rheumatoid modules show up in places like my elbows and whatnot. And when they would show up, I would start sending love. I didn't know anything about sound frequencies at this point, I got to tell you. But I had learned a lot about the power of my thoughts and visualization and staying positive and believing, and the diet I was on and the water I was drinking. And I had learned a lot on how to alter and adjust my life to become healthier and more well. And so I would just put my hands on my elbows and I would be watching a funny movie or whatnot and just be sending love to those rheumatoid nodules. They would disappear. And I remember when the first one showed up, I was like, oh my God, what is this? It's a big, huge lump on my elbow. And it hurt when I leaned on, you lean on your desk or you lean on a table and it hurt. So I went to the doctor and I said, what is this? And this was, now I'm seeing the holistic, the practitioner that has holistic and allopathic. And I asked her, I said, what is this? And she said, it's a rheumatoid nodule. And that was the first time I'd heard the term. And I said to her, I said, well, how do I get rid of it? And she says, well, you can have it cut off, but it would just grow back. They're not going to go away. They never go away. And I went, oh, okay. Because when somebody tells me something's going on with my body and it's never going to fix this or fix that, to me, that's just sending me a challenge. It's like, I dare you. And I take it on. I buy it. So what I did, as I mentioned, I would put my hands on my elbows and and they went away. And within about, 2.5, 3 weeks, I went back to see her, just to have a coffee with her actually. And I show her my elbows. I said, look, they're gone. She said, how did you do that? I said, I just decided I didn't want them anymore. It is that easy. It is that easy, but we must take action. We must have faith. We must believe, and we must find modalities that work for us. Now, as you know, because I'm a teacher, I've gone through so many different modalities that I've used for various things for myself, but that I've also shared with all of my clients, because if I can give you one little inkling of information that's going to make a difference to you, then everybody wins. And I'm happy. I've done my job. So let's just do a quick recap. Some of the modalities we took a look at in the last episode, the last podcast there was reflexology, there was Reiki, there was emotional freedom technique or tapping. Ho'oponopono is one I think I mentioned, but I never talked a lot about it. Ho'oponopono is very popular. It's a Hawaiian healing modality. Reiki. Meditation, of course, is almost a basis of everything that we tend to do, and even everything that I do as a psychic and a medium. Meditation is a basic part of what I do. If it isn't a basic tenet in your life, you're going to have a difficult time using a lot of these thought modalities or these energy modalities, because you won't be able to get yourself to a place of calm or a place of peace. And so meditation is very important, and visualization goes right along with that. Massage, of course. Crystal healing. I talked a little bit about crystal healing and the malas and the uh, the mala and the rosary for the Christian, the mala for the Buddhist, and the rosary for the Christian people. I think the mala actually is Hindu as well. I don't know what they call it, but I think they use the same thing. And of course, essential oils is a part of it as well. And you know what? Those are just a smattering of healing modalities I've run into. But there's a lot of modalities that I haven't probably got information on. And if you have some healing modalities that you've got proof that they work, send me information, Sharyn at SharynRose.com. Send me information. I'd love to know about it. And if it's worthy and even if you're a practitioner, it would be actually behoove me to have you come on to my program and we talk together and share this so that everybody can learn about these modalities. One of the things I left you with was kind of a teaser around healing modality around sound frequencies. And sound frequencies, I am very sensitive to. Of course, I've been doing this work for many years, so of course you become a little sensitized. But I'm very sensitive to environments. And I think I've mentioned that in previous podcasts as well. I'm sensitive to environments, but I'm also sensitive to tones and sounds. So I don't do well in places like where there's a lot of aggression. I don't do well where there's a lot of different emotional imbalances going on, like a bar where some people are really drunk and rowdy. I do if I have control. Now, years and years ago, I used to run karaoke systems. And of course, the bars always got rowdy, but I was on a stage. I was removed. I didn't have people crowding me. I wasn't standing at a bar. I wasn't drinking. And so I'd have a cocktail, but I wasn't drinking to the excess they were. And so, and my task doing the karaoke was to bring joy to the people that were there. And there was a lot of people that would come into the bars. In fact, they started to complain that a lot of people came in and they weren't drinking. They were drinking water and Coke and coffee and that kind of stuff, but they weren't drinkers. They just wanted to come and sing, which I was tickled. I thought that was just great. But it wasn't, so they were kind of like, okay, we have to run some drink specials and yada, 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 yada. They did fine. They had lots of people that liked to drink, just like they do now. Anyways, the point I'm getting at is not a thing about booze. The point I'm getting at is sound does make a huge difference. And so let me just give you some of the frequency that I'm particularly referring to right now is called the solfeggial frequency. And I'll go more into how to find it, information, et cetera, what it is. But the key facts around the frequency are specific tones, and they're used to elicit a certain physical or mental response. Now, these frequencies can aid in healing, and each one relates to one of the chakras in the body. I haven't talked to you about chakras. The chakras are the healing centers. There's a root chakra that is right at the top of your legs in the very base of your spine. There's this sacral chakra, and it's related. Root chakra is related to the color red. The sacral chakra is related to the color orange. There's the solar plexus chakra, which is just above your navel, which is related to the color yellow. The heart chakra is green on the front, pink on the back. Throat chakra at your throat, and it's blue. Third eye is purple or violet color right between your eyes. And then your crown chakra, which I see as silver or white, and some people see it as gold. And it's your energy, that source that comes in. So that's a real brief and quick. If you want to know more about chakras, Google chakras, CHAKRAS. And you could even pick up a chakra meditation, which would really help too, because listening to the solfeggio frequencies will help enhance any chakra meditations as well. So it helps to rebalance each of those main 7 chakras I just described. The fourth benefit is of the frequencies range. They range from relieving pain to repairing DNA and rebuilding relationships. Now, I told you I've been doing this now. I've been doing it for about 10 days. And I've had memories come to me from childhood that were painful, that I hung on to, that were traumatizing. And I realized as they would resurface, and I don't know, I only can attribute it to listening to these solfeggio frequencies before I go to sleep at night, or when I go to bed. And in the morning, I wake up with these memories or these experiences that are resurfacing. And some of them were things I had hung on to my whole life. I didn't know it. Because things go deep. I mean, you're living your life, you're layering. We're like onions. You've heard that before. The human psyche is layers and layers and layers of data. And and experiences. And one of them was so painful that it was a complete and total rejection that I had experienced at the age of 16 by someone who I needed to trust in the moment because I had been gravely hurt. Hurt to the point where my face was totally stitched up. You couldn't even recognize me. One side was so swollen. I had been kicked by my horse and drug. I talked about that in another episode. Anyways, but the rejection that I experienced and the lack of empathy and the lack of understanding and the finger pointing that came along from this person was so painful that I couldn't, at that point, I was already broken. I was already hurting. I was stitched up. I'm a 16-year-old girl and I want to be cute. I'm going back to school in a month too, I wanted to say. So if I'm going back to school in a month with my face all stitched up, that's not making a 16-year-old girl very happy. And I remember it really sent me into a spiral. It sent me into a really deep depression that this person was so disrespectful and so mean. I don't know any other word for it. Mean, just basically. And it was intentionally cruel. At that time, I didn't see the intention behind it. I just thought I was a bad person because that's how you think when you grow up with narcissists in your realm and they're influencing you. So it does, when it comes to, when I talk about repairing DNA, it can rebuild relationships, but it can rebuild your memory structure so that you can let go of some of these old stories that you're hanging on to that have never done you service. There's 9 main solfeggio frequencies ranging from 174 hertz to 963 hertz. And the benefits of listening to solfeggio frequencies include physical and mental healing, improved sleep, reduced anxiety, and it can also lower your cholesterol. What a bonus, right? That's just straight up a bonus. Let's go to the beginnings. Now, this podcast is going to be a little bit longer, but I want to go back to the science of solfeggio frequencies. A biochemist named Dr. Glenn Reines in 1988, began looking into the effects of sound waves on the human body. And his experiment exposed DNA to 4 different styles of music. This is so relevant in our day and time today. The music he chose to expose were Sanskrit mantras, Gregorian chants, classical music, and rock music. And Dr. Reen then measured the rate of UV light absorption, a critical function of healthy DNA. We must be able to absorb UV light. He measured the rate of it. And by doing this exposure, he could assess the effects of each type of music on the DNA, and the results surprised and shocked everybody. Gregorian chants and Sanskrit mantras increased UV light absorption between 5 to 9%, promoting DNA repair. Isn't that exciting? Gregorian chants and Sanskrit mantras. Classical music increased UV absorption by small amounts, and rock music decreased UV light absorption, damaging the DNA. Now, Reen's research proved the theory that sound frequencies do produce serious effects, for better or worse, on our health and our well-being. And I wanted to share that with you because it's very relevant. If you're going to start taking on the solfeggio frequencies, you want to have some background, and you can also do your own homework. I encourage it. But you want to have some background. You want to believe it works. I mean, if you don't believe it works, what's the point in doing it? Now, here's a little bit of the history. It makes up an ancient musical scale. The solfeggio frequencies make up an ancient musical scale based on the solfeggio scale invented by 11th century monk Guido d'Arezzo. And the frequencies were lost and then rediscovered in the 70s by Dr. Joseph Puello. And Dr. Joseph Puello identified a number of tones that can aid in healing and bring the body back into balance. And there's specific sound patterns that stimulate the brain. They can be used for transformational purposes and can be deeply healing. So these are the frequencies we're talking about, of course. And then in 88, that's when Dr. Reines got involved. Okay, so let's go right into the solfeggio frequencies. So we're not going to be keeping you guys for like days and weeks and months here. So let me just recap. What are the 9 solfeggio frequencies? They are used to open the chakras and bring about various mental and physical health benefits depending on the frequency used. Now, the primary 9 solfeggio frequencies range from 174 hertz to 963 hertz. Let me go through them really quickly. At 174 hertz, you're going to be able to relieve pain and stress and enhance concentration. And it's been said to prove a sense of security to the organs in the body. So if you've got anything to do with your kidneys, your heart, your liver, and it's particularly beneficial when it comes to pain in the lower back, the feet, and the legs. Okay, so that's the first level. The second level is 285 hertz, healing tissue and organs. The 285 hertz frequency can help treat minor injuries and wounds in the body, and is said to help fix damage in the organs and repair your cells. The next level up is 396 hertz, which is liberating guilt and fear. Look at this, you guys. One of the issues I've talked about over and over and over since July of 2020 is losing my dad. It hit me like a ton of bricks. I don't know why it hit me like that, but it hit me hard. And I had a very difficult time recovering. And I'm still in recovery for that all this time, 2.5 years later. I'm still in recovery. I miss him and I'm still sad. And the solfeggio frequencies are helping me with that, helping me relieve that. For those struggling with loss, 396 hertz is liberating the guilt and fear and is the most beneficial. And this frequency can help eliminate feelings of guilt, fear, and grief. So if you're grieving, this is for you as well. 417 hertz, undoing situations and facilitating change. Do you hear what I'm saying? Undoing situations. You can create new beginnings to old stories. So in other words, it can do what I consider collapse dominoes backwards and forwards. You've got a history in your family, mothers and daughters always hate each other, mothers, daughters, mothers, daughters, mothers, daughters, there's issues, and you don't want to carry that on forward to your daughters or potential women in your family. You can collapse that dynamic backwards and forwards so you don't have to deal with it ever again. So facilitating change, the 417 hertz frequency marks the start of new beginnings, removing negative energy from the body, the home, and the office. These frequencies can do a lot in your environmental clearing spaces as well. The next frequency is a 528 hertz frequency, and it's transformation and miracles. The 528 hertz frequency is one of the most powerful frequencies with a profound effect on our physical well-being and emotional mental well-being. This frequency can activate imagination, intention, and intuition. And this is a frequency you could use in your meditations. It's said to be the love frequency, and it can awaken your spirituality. Well, if you're not already awakened spiritually, you're not obviously listening to this, are you? So there's still 5 more frequencies, you guys. Oh my, 5 more? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 more. 4 more frequencies. The next one is 639 hertz, and it's connecting relationships. Now, the 639 hertz frequency promotes connection and repairs turbulent relationships with friends, family, and the community around you. The next one is 741 hertz, which awakens your intuition. For intuition and problem solving, 741 hertz can be deeply beneficial. It can help provide mental clarity and can also be used to help those struggling with chronic pain. Anybody with chronic pain? Hello, diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis 30 some years ago. And when I lost my father, what happened? My hands became highly arthritic and literally started to twist. And I've been trying to reverse that ever since. So I'm using the frequencies to work on my hands. 852 hertz, returning to spiritual order. 852 hertz is said to rebalance your spirituality. It'll help you connect to the universe and your own consciousness on a deeper level. And you know, I'm doing this. I don't give you guys anything I don't try. And I'm doing this and it works. It's amazing. The last one is the 963 hertz divine consciousness or enlightenment. The highest of the 9 main frequencies, 963 hertz, is known as the frequency of the gods, and it can create room for oneness and unity with the spiritual world. And almost all of my clients are really looking for that kind of connection. So now I'm an all or nothing kind of girl. And what I recommend and what I do is I actually put my headphones on and listen to this with earbuds, by the way. You want frequency tones. Frequencies work in both ears. So you get different tones for each ear. Although if you don't have those, that's fine. Headphones work really well. But if you don't have either of those, listen to it just this way. It'll help because it'll also heal your environment as well. By the way, the first night that I ever did this, I was laying in bed. My cat comes in and out of our bedroom all night long. And when I came to the frequencies, I came to kind of partway through, my cat, I had my cell phone laying on the bed face down because I was playing it on my cell phones and I had earbuds in. And I kind of was in this deep meditation. And when I came out of it, my cat had her paw on top of my phone. And I knew that she could feel the frequencies too. I knew that frequencies were working with her as well. So don't be afraid to share this with your animals too. Hey? Okay. He has what I tend to do is I went on to a different site, and you'll have to dig around because I don't know what site that would look like at this point. Where it was Solfeggio Frequencies, but you can listen to them one right after the other. And I plug it into my phone, and I don't have my phone sitting here. I would give it to you, but I just plug my headphone in and I turn it on, and it goes through all 9 frequencies because I'm not smart enough to figure out which one I need. I think I need them all. And there will come a place in time when a couple of them will become kind of, they're kind of done their thing. But I really, really, really use them all. And I still use them all. I probably will for at least another 2 or 3 months. And then I will decide to pick and choose however I want. But I love the Solfeggio Frequencies. Now, Solfeggio Frequencies, S-O-L, S is in Sam, O-L, F is in Frank, E-G-G-I-O. That's how you spell Solfeggio. Solfeggio. There's no R. Okay? I'd love to hear how you guys do. If you're going to tap into the Solfeggio Frequencies, I really, really want you to let me know how it goes for you. So the card I pulled for you, my body is very responsive to an improved story. And this is coming from the deck. It's called Health and the Law of Attraction cards by Esther and Jerry Hicks. And of course, the energy of Abraham. So my body is a reflection mostly of the thoughts I think, and I'm looking forward to seeing physical changes in my body that reflect changes in my thinking. I'm confident that these changes are in progress, and in the meantime, I'm generally feeling so good that I'm not unhappy with where I currently am. It's fun to think on purpose and to see the results of those deliberately chosen thoughts. My body is very responsive to my thoughts. I like knowing that. Listen up, people. Get yourself hooked into the Solfeggio Frequencies. I promise you, it will make a difference. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Good luck. I wish you nothing but the best on using these frequencies. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Medium Well with Psychic Sharyn Rose. If you love listening to this podcast, we have one little favor to ask you. Please follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. If you love learning from Sharyn, well, she's got a few great courses that are ongoing. Why don't you register for Kitchen Witchin'? It's on now. All you have to do for more information is go to kitchenwitchin.ca. Or if you'd like to book an appointment with Sharyn for a reading, or if you'd like to know more about Sharyn, her psychic services, coaching sessions, and more workshops, go to SharynRose.com. That's Sharyn with a Y. We'll talk to you next time.